Hello everyone, good morning. This is the third stream where we talk about Barba.js. We had the first stream where we went into the basics of the library. We had the second stream where we tried to build a pretty complex interaction with a flip animation. I'll show it in a second. And today, it's the last day, not the last day ever, maybe we'll do it in the future, but it's the last day in a row where we're talking about Barba.js.
That's effing sweet.
My intention today is to build this animation that I'm showing you right now, where we have this circle that moves from the button that I click to the button of the page where we're visiting. So the home page, the button will grow from here, and then it will shrink into pricing if I go into pricing, like this. I think it's a cool animation. We'll try to do this, and I can tell you that it's not that complex. We have this project where we just created this simple layout with a few buttons, and we'll have to do a couple tricks to be able to implement this in here, okay? So the first thing is obviously we need to design this circle that goes, expands and then shrinks. This circle, it's gonna be a Webflow element. The only thing that we will do is take that element and animate it to grow and to shrink when we want to, okay? That's the first thing. Obviously, another thing is that we have to create this pricing button because we don't have it in here. And thanks to the rules that we can implement in Barba.js, we can decide what transitions we are running when we want to. So in this case, this fade in, fade out animation, it's just running when navigating before home and about. The flip animation just runs when we visit the contact or we leave the contact page. And the circle expansion and shrinking, I don't know how to call this animation, it's just gonna happen when we visit or we leave the pricing page. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, I think that we can start by just creating the pricing page. Let's duplicate the home page. Duplicate now. Okay, pricing. Cool. And we just need to change this pricing like that. Yeah. So we have it. In this case, the buttons are. It's a waffle symbol. It's a component. So we'll just edit that. And in here, we can duplicate this. We can define this as a pricing button. And we'll change the link to point to the pricing page, okay? But not only that, let's scan what's happening here in this animation. The circle grows from the button that we're clicking, and then it shrinks into the button where the navigation it's reaching, okay? To make this very easy to implement, what we will do is just create one small circle in each of these buttons, okay? Bear with me. We'll take each one of these buttons and we'll create a wrapper for them. Okay, we'll put the button inside. And in this wrapper, it's just an empty div block. Well, we can call this, I don't know, button wrapper, like this. Let me just put it in lowercase. And we just need to set it to relative, okay? Because inside this wrapper, we will also have the circle, okay? We'll take this div block and we'll convert it into a circle. So let's create, I don't know, we can call this button circle, for example. What we want to do is take this and just for the sake of showing what I'm doing, let's just give it a width of, I don't know, 1 rem for now, height of 1 rem also. And let's set this to position absolute. Okay. Now this circle, it's not affecting the layout of this button because it's in position absolute. And we need to obviously make it look as a circle. So let's take the radius and I'll just set it to be 999 rem to make it just as big as I can. Because yeah, we just want to round it up. Okay. And for now, let me just put the background to red just to give you some context of what's happening. We have the circle, and the circle should be located in the middle of the button because when we expand the circle, we want that circle to be growing from the middle of the button to outside, okay? So this absolute, we'll just position it here. We'll move it 50% from the left and 50% from the top. But this is not centered yet. The reason is, you probably know it, but absolute positioning, it always takes the positioning from the outside, from the corner, not from the center of the element. So right now we have 50% of the width from this corner and not from the center of the element. So we want to center this. We will also transform it. So we'll move this minus 50% on the x-axis and also minus 50% in the y-axis. And this sets the circle to be in the middle. Yep. And that's kind of it. The last thing that we need to do is just set the circle, obviously, to the color of the button, which is just black. I can come here and say that this is not black, but black, like this. And we don't need to have any specific width and any height for now, because we will animate it programmatically. And also, we don't need to have the button visible, so we will set it to display now. Okay, but you can see that the button, it's perfectly positioned. So when we run the animation, we just have to care about showing the circle and growing that circle. That's it. We don't have to worry about positioning this circle wherever the user it's clicking. Okay, cool. So we'll need to do the same for all the buttons. Let me just do it super quick. Take a wrapper, this, and this is gonna, let me just do it for all of them. Button inside, like this, and another one. And this is gonna be button wrapper, and I'll just copy and put it to all of the wrappers like this. And also we'll take the button circle and put it inside all the wrappers too. Yep. Okay. Now the thing that it's missing is obviously when we navigate from one page to the other, we want to determine, okay, we're navigating from the home page. This means that we have to get the circle from the home button. And we are going to the pricing page. So this means that when we shrink the circle, we want the pricing circle to be the one who's doing the shrinking animation. So this means that we have to somehow identify these circles, because right now we just have them placed next to the buttons, but we don't have any kind of identifier. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I call this data element, and we can call it circle dash home, for example. Okay. Now, if you recall, when we're defining in Barba.js different animations for different pages, as I mentioned, for example, the home page and the about pages, they have one specific animation, and it's another one for the contact page, etc. The way that we detect the content that we're switching from and to is by using the namespaces. So if we go to the wrapper that is defined as the container, each of these containers has also a data Barba namespace that determines the specific namespace that we're working with. Okay. If in the case of the home page, we have the home, and this should be pricing because I duplicated from the home page. But if we check other pages, if we check about, for example, and we see the container, it has a namespace of about. If we go to pricing, now it has the pricing one because I just added it. And if we check the one from the main wrapper, from the contact page, sorry, this is namespace equals the contact. Okay, so this means that when we perform the transition, we will be able to know exactly what namespace we're moving from and what namespace we're going to. Okay, inside this circle that it's inside the button wrapper, we can identify it by just calling it circle dash and the namespace. So let's do the same. This is going to be data element equals to circle about, like this. And the next one, it's going to be data element circle pricing. And the last one, data element circle contact. Okay, this is going to be super helpful when we start querying items on the page. Okay, So let's move on. Let's start coding the animation. We have everything in place. Each button has a wrapper with a circle inside, and the circle we have properly identified that circle. The only thing that's lasting now is to actually write the animation. Okay, so let me stop my demo. This is the demo that I had. I'll just stop it, or maybe we can leave it. I'll just leave it here on the side. But I want to open the current page. Okay, right now I am not loading the JavaScript, so let's spin up the server. I'll come to the code base, sorry, and we can just run pm dev like that. And now that we have the local environment, if we reload the page, now the transitions are going to work fine. These transitions are going to work. The only one that it's not going to work, it's the pricing one, because we have not defined it. Okay, now that we don't have any specific animation for pricing, what happens is that it falls back to the default animation, which in this case, the default animation that we created is the just fade out, fade in animation. Okay, but let's create this new animation. We'll come into the transitions array. Okay, and in here we'll create a new animation, and we will define this as, I don't know, pricing transition, whatever. It's fine. Not name, and name like this. And we will define this that any time that we go from any page into the pricing into the pricing page, we want to run this transition. So we'll say 2, and the namespaces, it's going to be pricing like this. Okay, and something it's missing. What's missing? Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know what happens today, but my computer goes pretty slow, but I think we're fine. Okay, so now that we are targeting this, obviously, if we try to go from the home page to the pricing, nothing is going to happen because we still don't have the transition defined. We just have the base, but now we have to create the actual code. So we have to create, and let me show you again the demo example. We have to create the animation where the circle expands, and then the animation where the circle shrinks. Okay, this means that when we leave the current page, we want to expand the circle, and when we enter the new page, we want to shrink the circle. Like, all right, yeah, the demo it's not going to work anyways, but I think that you all guys have that in mind. So first of all, let's define the leave animation. Leave animation, okay? And this leave animation, it's going to pass a data property like this. And in this data property, we can just, for now, let's get console log leaving to pricing, okay? Let's just make sure that this is working fine. Down here, let me open the console, and I'll zoom in. We're on the home page, and we'll go to pricing, and look what happened. No animation because we have not defined it, but it's properly running. It's saying we're leaving from somewhere into pricing. So we can move on. First of all, we have to set the container that will come into the place as fixed position. And this, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I think that you should go and watch the previous stream, because I explained how both containers, the current page and the new page that is coming into place, behave when we're switching. So essentially, we have to set the new container that it's coming into position fixed, so we can then run both animations overlapping the content. Okay, so we'll take the let me just collapse some stuff because I don't want to confuse you guys. Let me just collapse all of this, like that. So first, we'll take the next container. So we'll call data next container. And in the class list, we'll add a class of is transitioning. Okay, this class is the one that we define as that sets the position fixed to the container. Okay, and in here now, okay, let me disable Copilot, because I don't want it to make any spoilers. We want to take the current circle and expand it. Yeah. Okay. So first we'll get the current circle. Yeah, current circle. Blah. Okay. So the current circle, it's gonna be from the current container. The current container. Okay. And inside the container, we want to get the circle. Can somebody tell me why Copilot doesn't want to go away? I think I was able. Okay, cool. So we'll try to fetch the circles. So let's call this data element equals to circle. But remember that it never does. But remember that we have to identify the circle that belongs to the current page, right? And this was circle dash and the namespace of the current page. So what we can do is just add dash and add here the data current namespace like this. So essentially, this is going to construct a data element equals to circle home if we're coming from the home page, or data element equals to circle about if we're coming from the about page, because it's taking it from the current namespace. Yep. So I think that we can just consider that this element is going to be always here. So we'll just force it. And let me just console log this current circle like that. We'll come here. We're in the home page. So when we go from the home page to the pricing page, we want to get the circle that belongs to the home button. Okay, let's try that. Boom. We got a circle, a div, circle home. Cool. Okay, let's do it again. We are now in the about page, and if we go to the pricing, it should return the circle that belongs to the about button. And correct, circle about, we got that circle. So all set. The only thing that it's missing now is animating that circle. So let's do it. Then we'll use GSAP for that, and we'll call this 2. And we'll take the current circle, and we want to just grow this circle so it covers the entire page. So we'll say that the width, maybe you guys would like to set it to 100p width port, but it actually not. It can potentially not cover the entire page, because you can think, okay, this is 100p width, so it means that it's the entire page. But if we take, for example, the circle from here, and we make it, or from here, maybe from here, and we make it 100p width, it means that 50p width it's going to be this way, and 50p width it's going to be that way. So we kind of need to make it bigger, because 50p width from here to here is going to be something like that. It's not going to cover the entire page. So let's put it as 200p width. Yeah. And we'll do the same for the height. For the height, and also 200p width. Because it's a circle, we want to expand exactly the same thing, height and width. We can set a duration. Let's call this 1 second, maybe. And an easing, I already know this one, but I think I'm going to use power 4. It's just an easing that GSAP has that I like. Before animating, we have to set this circle style display. We'll set it to display block like that, because now it's now no longer hidden and we can animate it. So let's try it again. Okay, cool. Kind of worked. But you can see that something funny is happening here. I don't know if this is a bug or a feature. It could be something intended. You want to just leave all the the buttons here. But for now, I think that we can tweak a little bit more the CSS from the project. And the circles, we'll set them to, oops, not the button, but the circle. We'll set it to have some Z index. Maybe we can set it to be 5, for example. And we can also, just for fun, set the home message content to be overflow hidden, like this. Because then the circle is going to expand, but it's going to be cut from here. I don't know. I think it's something cool that we can do. So let's wait 1 second until it's published. Okay, let's try it again. Homepage, pricing, yay. So now the circle, expand this, the circle is animating and it's taking up the entire space until it gets cut with the overflow. And that's it. Now, obviously, what's missing is the other way around. So when we are in the pricing page, we have to shrink the circle to finalize this transition. Let me just do it again. We're expanding, that's good. But then that's it. We have to shrink the circle. So this has been defined as the leave transition, right? Because it's when we are leaving from one page to the other. But now we have to do the enter transition, which is when the next page enters in place. So we'll call second, call here, and we'll say async enter with the data. And now in here, we have to play the shrinking animation, okay? The shrinking animation, it's going to be a little bit more complex. Not a lot, but it's going to be a little bit more. Keep in mind that when the next container enters, we still have the previous circle expanded, right? The previous circle doesn't go away until the full life cycle finishes. So for now, let's query both circles, the previous circle and the next circle, the one from the new page. So let's call this current circle, and we'll do it again. I think I can just copy this and paste it here. And I'll also do the same, but instead of using the current, we'll use the next one. Okay, we get the one from the current container and the one from the next container. Yeah. At this point in time, the current circle is the one that it's expanded and it's covering the view. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is, before we hide the current circle, we'll take the next container and we'll match the same dimensions. Okay. We'll just, in the background, we'll take the next circle and also make it as big, covering the view as the current circle. So we'll take the next circle and we'll set the styles, and we'll set the width to 200 bit width, and we'll do the same for the height. Okay. Now you probably are asking yourself, like, why am I doing it like this and not with GSAP? The reason is because at this point I don't want to animate the next circle to also expand, because the previous circle is already covering the view. So I just want to set quickly the next circle to also be covering the view, and then we'll create the animation that shrinks that. Okay. So when we do this, like this, now what we can do is take the current circle and just hide it. Style display equals to none. Okay. I need to set the next circle to display block, like that, because the next circle was also set to display none before. So if I do this, now this is what stays, okay? But if we inspect what's happening here, the circle that we can see, it's the circle from the pricing page, right? So we've basically just swapped the previous circle from the home page with the next circle, which is the one from the pricing page. We just swapped them. You didn't realize that because they are essentially the same, so you don't see the difference. But we swapped them. We no longer have the previous circle. So now that we've made this swap, the only thing that it's missing is taking this next circle and shrinking it. So we'll now call this GSAP2, and we'll take the next circle, and we'll also do the same. We'll take the width and we'll set it to 0. Width, we'll set it to 0. We'll set the height to 0 too. We'll also set the duration to 1 second, although it could be any duration that we want. And also we'll set the easing to be the same, power 4, like this. Okay, so let me do this. 1 second. Let's try it. First, we're shrinking, and then, first we are growing, and then it's shrinking. So it grows from the home page and it rings into the pricing page. But look what's happening here. Something weird is going on, right? Yeah, we can, there's still this point where we can see both containers still overlapping one on top of the other, right? Because we still have not removed the previous content. We're just using position fixed to cover one content with the other. So before animating, we'll take the current container, and we'll set it to display none. Display equals to none. Okay, we're taking the entire content from the previous page and we're just getting rid of it. So let's try it again. From the home page, boom, and boom. Cool. Now we don't see that overlap happening. Okay, the only thing that's missing now is obviously if we check the wrapper, let's see 1 second, the main wrapper, it's still transitioning. So it's still defined as position fixed. And we don't want that. We want to restore the original position. So you can actually not see the difference because there's not any other content on the page, but it could happen, that you have other content. So we'll also take the next container and we'll remove the class list that, if you remember, we added previously when in the living transition. So we'll remove is transitioning like this. And I think that now we're done with half of it, right? Because we're going from the homepage to pricing and the animation is working fine. That's great. But now also what's missing is going from the pricing to any other page, right? So that's missing. Pricing transition. Currently, we just have the leave and enter when we are navigating to the pricing page. Okay, so we need to do the same. We need to take another pricing transition leave. I don't know. Let's call it like that. When we go from the pricing transition to any other page. So we're going from the pricing page to any other page. So we'll define from, and namespace is going to be the pricing too. Okay. Name, not name, but namespace. Like this. Now, we're going to have a problem here. And it's that we have to essentially just copy and paste the same thing, right? Because when we leave, we want to expand the circle. And when we enter the page, we want to shrink the circle, right? So obviously the easiest thing would be to just copy this and paste it in here. But let's try to be a little bit more mindful about what the work that we're doing. So instead of doing that, we'll just extract this into a function. So let me take this and we'll call this pricing leave animation. And this is going to be a function. And inside this function, we will add these directives. This needs to be async. And also, this needs to have access to the data property that Barba.js provides us. So here, we need to define this as data, and this is going to be IT transition data. Okay, so now that we have it, we can go back up here, and we can just call this pricing leave animation with the data property. This data property is the one that it's coming from Barba. And we'll do the same for the enter animation. Here, let's call this pricing enter animation. And we'll do the same. We'll paste the logic inside here. We'll set this to be data, IT transition data. And we'll also set this to be async, like this. And now we can move here. And boom. Cool. Now it's a little bit more, it's better to copy and paste this because we're essentially reusing the entire logic for the leaving and entering. And that's actually it. Now we have the same logic because it's the exact same thing, but running when we go to the pricing page and when we come from the pricing page. We have to wait like that because the animations are asynchronous. which means that we have to wait for the animation to finish before doing the next steps. So we wait. And now, yay! Okay, going to pricing. And obviously it's also missing the leaving. So wait, here. Let's do it again. Homepage, pricing. Yay! Okay, cool. We're done. This was the third part of the Barba.js stream. Today we built this interaction where we have this circle that expands and contracts. You can see how cool is it. So if you haven't watched the previous streams where we created these other cool animations, please go ahead. You can find them in the YouTube channel. And in the next sessions, we'll be talking about a completely different topic. We'll talk about how to create applications in Webflow. We have a demo that we created for a client, and we're going to walk through that demo and I'm going to try to explain my mindset behind that demo. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next Friday. Bye.